So we're here at Edgewood FunFly in Deer Park,
Long Island, New York.
Long Island, New York. And I'm here with Andrew, SAB Team Pilot USA, and we have a Goblin 570 in front of us. And I gotta tell you, like, after I saw you fly it at South, the Freefall RC Heli Fest, I was just like, wow, you know, it's just beautiful. I love the blue line on it and the yellow. And so then I was thinking, you know, we really should do like a proper like overview video of the heli. And you said you have some good tips and things that you think people should know and you can throw in there.
Upgrade for the carbon fiber frames if you want
Okay.
some. But the G10 frames are very strong. There's really no need. I don't feel a difference in flight.
No real need.
There's no need for them.
And these are the SAB, I guess, like sport blades that come.
Yeah,
right?
so these are the S-line blades.
Okay.
From what I understand, they're the same thing as the Thunderbolt blades. They just don't have the color on them. I heard the finish might be a little maybe off on them, but these look perfectly.
They look great.
They look perfectly fine. Yeah, they look perfectly fine to me.
Yeah.
They're the most affordable blades that SAB has ever made.
Okay, wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, it seemed to me like they did a bunch of different things to make it a little more economical.
Yes.
And, you know, like I think they reduced the price on the boom.
Yeah, so what they did was they went through a different manufacturing process for the boom and the canopy to keep the cost down a little bit.
Okay. And so, typical question, like, what do you, as far as, you have full servos in this, right? You can use smaller size servos if you want to, right?
Yeah, so you can use the mini servos if you want. I'm currently running BK 7002s and a 7006 in the tail.
Okay.
I originally was going to use mini servos to keep the cost down and keep the weight down a little bit, but I really wanted that extra power out of the full size servos, and especially if I ever go to 12S. I'm running 6S right now. I definitely wanted that extra power.
Okay. Now, good question. Now that you mentioned 6S and 12S, I mean, that's the interesting thing. SAB kind of tells you you can fly 12S or 6S, but you're doing 6S.
Correct.
So what do you think are like the positives, cons of like going 12S versus 6S?
Good question. So I went 6S because I already had the batteries for it from another 550.
Okay.
So there was really no need for me to go out and buy a whole new set of packs. Because if you're running 12S, you got to use 3000s. They recommend 33,000, 3300s. I really don't want to spend the extra money. And I already have 3 packs already set up for this machine. So I'll be honest. The only difference really between the 12S and the 6S, you're going to get a little more head speed out of 12S.
Yeah.
It's probably going to run a little cooler. And you're going to get less bog. Even though there's really not any bog with 6S, but if you push it hard enough, which you really shouldn't with any machine, you could push it a little too far sometimes. The older 570, I have a lot of friends that do. And from one of the biggest complaints that I heard is that you can't run. It was really hard to fit a Hobbywing 130 in there, or a Scorpion 130. So what they did was they made the ESC slot a little bigger so you can fit it. And when I noticed when I put it in, it was pretty snug. I really didn't have any issues getting it in there, and I'm really happy that I'm using the 130. I was going to use a 120, and then a good friend of mine told me if you're going to be pushing it, and if you're in the warm weather, you may have some shutdowns. So I stayed safe, even though it's about twice the price. I went with the Hobbywing 130.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'm always, I believe in using a bigger ESC. And even, you know, like I said, I like that it's got a lot of room because, like, I have a Tribunus 130 amp, and I know I could fit that in there.
Oh, yeah.
And, again, and even George said from Scorpion that, you know, you could use a smaller ESC, but the problem is it's about the heat, right?
Exactly.
And a larger ESC gives you more leeway and will last over time instead of trying to push it out of a small ESC.
When we were in Delaware, I believe Saturday topped out at 101 degrees and no issues at all. I pushed this thing as hard as I could, and it was.
We got the video from
that.
You were throwing down pretty hard.
And in South Jersey too, and even here, it's about. Probably hitting about 90.
Oh, it's real hot.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we're in the shade. What are we looking at as far as head speeds?
Yeah, so I think my lowest head speed is about 2050. which is it's really smooth. It's really good for practicing hurricanes, practicing funnels, figure eights, forward flight. But my full head speed, I'm running to about 2630 on the Hobbywing Governor. I recommend to get if you're using 6S and the same motor or same type KV motor, the 23 tooth pulley if you're trying to get that head speed. I originally had the 22 tooth in there, and I think I was getting 24 or 25, but I noticed it really comes. This machine really comes alive at the higher head speeds.
Okay. But it can do lower head speed at the same time too.
Just in usual Goblin tradition, it can handle low and high head speeds, no problem at all.
Because I have seen some other Howies where they don't really do good in the low area.
Yes.
Even my Goblin 420, it's amazing. Like you could really lower the head speed on that and then cruise around at like a phenomenally low head speed. It didn't need the high head speed to stay in the air.
I mean, I could probably go lower than 20, 50 or whatever I have it set at. I think I have it at 70% on the Hobbywing Gov. But then again, I'd probably have to reduce the gearing a little bit to get the tail authority.
Change your gearing, yeah. Especially for EC. Can we push it up to 3,000 RPM?
maybe on 12S. Maybe on 12S.
I don't know if SAB condones that.
I think if I had that set up on 6S, I think my battery would just die instantly. Yeah.
But you know what, though? I noticed you have a lot of notable SAB pilots, and they are flying this. It's not like they're just flying the 700. Like we got Kyle Stacy flies his.
Yeah.
Chris Diamante's flying his, and I've seen other guys flying it, too. So it's definitely, you guys really, Team Pilot seem to really like the 570. And you were telling me, like, you really love it.
Yes. So first thing, using the full-size SAB servo horns. On the elevator servo, you're going to have to cut that so you don't get binding.
Okay.
I noticed that right. These are things I didn't know when I was building it. This was the first.
On the horn.
You're gonna have to cut it down. I used the second hole, I believe. Then you just cut it. Same thing on the tail servo. You're gonna have to cut that so it doesn't hit the belt.
Okay.
On the motor,
the horns stick out a little bit too much.
Yeah.
You just need to trim them.
Well, on this one, it's at least that's what I experienced. The motor I'm using the X-Nova 4025 1120.
Yeah.
I think when I bought it, they weren't selling it with the correct shaft, so I got the A shaft on it. Now I had to cut that shaft. So if you get the same motor and you're using the A, I believe it's the A shaft, you're gonna have to cut that, and you can do that really easily with a Dremel. You just want to make sure it's not touching the battery. X-Nova does make a shaft specifically for the 570. I don't know if they are selling this motor yet with that.
So either wait to get the right shaft from them for that, or cut the shaft.
I thought it was going to be easier to cut the shaft. It was very easy to do.
Just right on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Two other things. There's one other thing. I noticed when I first built it, I don't know if this was just or if it's.
Take the canopy off?
Yeah, let's take the canopy
off.
I noticed I had to sand that down because it felt very tight out of the box.
A little bit tight in
I mean, it's no big deal. They recommend to sand the frames anyway. I've never had to sand one of these before, but definitely just check that. Make sure you're not getting any binding.
Okay. Check it for binding.
That's a very quick fix.
These aren't like big.
No,
not like big things.
Not at all. And another thing is, I highly recommend if you're doing any sort of 3D, get the Delrin dampers. I think it's the part number is 80425.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
Definitely got those. I noticed a much better response once I put those in.
Okay.
So I use the Delrin dampers, the brass shim, and then 2 small spacers.
Okay.
You want a very tight. It's going to feel very tight, but you're gonna want that if you're looking for a very firm response.
Okay.
And that's really it as far as setup tips. Those are just some of the things that I noticed that I ran into that I didn't know before.
Okay. And again, those are like very simple things. They're like, they're no big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it just looks phenomenal. Like I said, I love how you have the yellow here and then the blue stripe. Yeah. Something about when SAB does that, like, it's like the how they incorporate the yellow and the blue, especially on the front of the canopy. I just really like the look of it.
No, as you guys probably know, this is available in orange. I chose the yellow just because I really like the visibility of the yellow. Even though the orange is very, very, very visible. Sometimes at this is my home field. Sometimes at this field, if I come early in the morning, if the sun's overhead, I just want to make sure I'm not going to have any problem seeing it.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it's just beautiful, and like I said, I saw you throwing down real hard with it. So, and you definitely seem to be loving it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, maybe I order one tonight.
Hey, we have one in the raffle today, so
I'm praying that I win it. I don't think I will, but
never know.
You never know. You never know. But thank you very much. Thank you very much for the interview.
Thanks for having me.